We are indeed.
The land show.
Yeah, the NoPlan
The
show.
NoPlan show.
Hey, just thought about that. Welcome everybody to NoPlan Live. I am your host. Me. This is him.
And today we are bringing you your tech news as part of our news segment.
Yep.
Starting off with the Raspberry Pi. It's becoming less and less of a Raspberry Pi.
A little bit, but I'm here for it. And this is, of course, the original one. I think was called the Pi 200.
Yes.
And it was, of course, you got a Raspberry Pi.
500, I believe. This is the 500 plus.
Right. No, the original one, though, I believe was a 200.
Oh, okay.
I can confirm that for us, though. But what looks so cool about this new one is they're sticking in the new super powerful Raspberry Pi 5 in there with 16 gigs of RAM in a keyboard. So you do kind of legitimately have a full-on desktop computer.
And an NVMe SSD, which... it's funny, like the Raspberry Pi, is this proving me wrong?
I think it was originally called the
Jamie,
200.
throw this on screen.
Yeah, let me get our screen capture here.
To prove.
Yeah, so it was originally called the Raspberry Pi 200?
500. I see 500 right there.
Maybe so. Maybe I was wrong.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think I was wrong. It was originally called the 500. Either way.
Well, regardless, though, it puts the Raspberry Pi in an interesting position because I think it was when the Raspberry Pi 5 released that people started asking questions as to the future of Raspberry Pi because it was going into more of Intel NUC territory, which a lot of people were kind of mixed on. And I think this is sort of an interesting evolution of that because we've seen all-in-one monitors, all-in-one computers haven't really existed since like the 80s. And
yeah.
I mean, this is, I don't know, what are your thoughts on this as like for Raspberry Pi's kind of goal or what people think their goal is?
Well, and if you see in the screenshot here, you can even see how you've got that full-size M.2 right there and everything. And with 16 gigs of RAM, and you even have user replaceable keys, which is just kind of nuts for a device like this. And it's coming in at $220. If you are looking for a good, powerful, or a powerful enough, what do you call it?
Just a powerful enough machine for
web browsing and light like gaming of retro games and stuff like that. This is actually like killer and it's not a joke either. A lot of Raspberry Pi products, of course, and of course it's coming from OMG Ubuntu. A lot of Raspberry Pi products have always been one of those things where it's for fun. It's kind of a toy in a way. However, this one, I truly believe is something that you could get to be your own legitimate computer because those switches and everything on the keys look nice.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see about that because I know, back to my point was, a lot of people, like you said, like use it for fun. And so when these more performance-oriented models start coming out, people were kind of like, well, this is more expensive. This is different from the original meaning of the Raspberry Pi. And I get where they're coming from with that, but I also think that, for hardware to progress, it's going to get a little more expensive and also has to get a little faster because we can't be running on the, I feel like we dog on it every time, but the PinePhone chip, which is what the original Raspberry Pi 3 ran on, right?
Yeah. And we've actually got a comment here getting kind of the viewer's point of view from Vincent Maggard. Sorry if I butchered that name. But he says that the new Pi is too costly for him, but he really wants one. And a lot of people, I think, have been turned off from the Pi 5 because, of course, I think it was $35 was always the intended price of a Pi.
Yeah.
And now you see the Raspberry Pi 5. I don't think even the base model comes in at 35. I think it started at like 50 something.
I think it's, well, there's the thing. I think they had the listed MSRP, but what it was actually retailing for was a lot higher. And I guess this is approaching Intel NUC territory, which is a whole other category.
But an Intel NUC is still going to be a good couple $100 more.
It is.
At least.
But how much more do you get for a couple $100? Like if you're able to put in a couple of like
Fair.
some of them have where you can put 2.5-inch drives and stuff like that, and you got the outputs. Because one thing about this, I will criticize, it has micro HDMI. I do not like micro HDMI.
Yeah.
They should have just put one full-size HDMI or Type-C or something other than that awful output. I'm sorry, that's
They do have Type-C for power supply. I don't know if there's going to be for anything else. We've got another comment from Patrick Miller. Sorry. Do you think that it'll play Silk Song, the game? That's kind of where this gets a little bit muddy as well. Raspberry Pis are ARM-based computers, not x86, which means you'll have to do a lot of emulation for a lot of apps that you really want. Steam is probably one of them. I don't know if Steam is actually supporting ARM
what's
yet.
gaming on the Raspberry Pi? It might be something really interesting to delve into.
Yeah, we probably should try that because it'd be really cool to see what a full decked out Raspberry Pi 5, which I think the max is 16 gigs, see if that could actually play something legitimately. But yeah, Patrick,
I would say no, probably.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah,
probably not. But yeah, Patrick, I don't think that it would play any Steam-based games based off of the fact that it is ARM. But you always have the option of doing Steam Play. And so you could have it on a different computer and stream to this device if you wanted to make this like, kind of a thin client for something else.
Yeah, it does have, I think, Wi-Fi 5, I believe. So it's not the newest, and it is 1 gigabit Ethernet port, which is not bad by any means. So you could hardwire it. So yeah, actually a streaming machine may be actually pretty good, but I don't think it'd be a good dedicated gaming machine.
Yeah, and then, yeah, Patrick, I think that HDMI needs to die a slow and painful death. I did say micro HDMI, right?
Well, you said HDMI, but
Sorry,
even
HDMI.
still, I'm not like, I do like HDMI, but I honestly wish the DisplayPort would kind of get ahead instead of it being this weird VGA and HDMI purgatory that we're in with monitors, it seems. At least the monitors I've used.
Yeah. So all in all, I think the price, closing it out, I think the price is reasonable. I don't think, considering that they are doing nice keys, and it is the top of the line Pi 5, and it is a custom board. I can pull this up again real quick. I mean, you can see this here. It is a custom board just for this. And so we are talking about a lot of engineering costs there and everything. I think that it's a decent price. It's not anything astounding. And I think it could have a lot of uses for a lot of people, even if it's, I could even see this in business uses where you want somebody to have a computer to access the web browser and all the basic stuff, but they don't need anything too powerful.
I can see that too, but I also understand how a lot of core fans could feel a little alienated by it because of the price. And so it's kind of a catch-22. They're obviously moving toward a different market, and maybe the original people are getting feel like they're getting pushed out. But speaking of all-in keyboard computers, there's an interesting story that I've been keeping up with, and it's about the Commodore 64.
Boom.
Now,
It's back.
yeah, this is not a computer I grew up with.
I think that's the theme of this video is it's back.
Yeah, it's back. Everything's back. We are so back. But this is I believe the channel I was watching was Retro Review. I can't remember exactly specifically, but it was talking about the guy wanted to basically get Commodore back, like the Commodore 64, because a lot of people, they grew up with it as their first computer, they really loved it, and he successfully did so. And now this is not like a reimagined, like modern computer. Like I think the Pi would smoke this on a purely hardware level.
Well, here's the question. Is it a Pi?
Well, actually, I don't think so.
I mean, the Starlight Edition is coming in at just under 300 euros, which I believe would be pretty close to about $350.
Yeah, and see, here's the thing about this. This is not like a utility thing at all. This is a big part of this
even
is
cheaper.
for nostalgia. But it's actually quite insane that he was able to get. I know there's a lot of people involved. I can't remember who was all involved in the project, but it's really neat that he was able to revive this dead brand and bring it back for people. I think that's a really cool story and really inspiring, actually.
No, absolutely. The Commodore 64 is something I don't have any nostalgia for. Never had one growing up. My first computers were Windows 95.
This is about 20 years earlier, I believe, for us.
Yeah, but I understand where somebody would want this, especially if you can get it a little bit modernized enough to be on the modern internet and stuff like that. I do believe I heard actually a long time ago that it was rumored that there was a Commodore 64 OS that would have been for something like this, and it was kind of being kept alive. And of course, it's going to be a Linux-based OS. So I'm kind of curious to see what they actually have going on here. Did you see anything about the operating system?
So as far as I know, honestly, I'm not exactly sure about what it's running. I know a lot about sort of not necessarily talking about the legal process and that about getting it. I just know I just know that I really don't know what it's running even. I don't think it's like on a Raspberry Pi. I think it's original PCBs that they're having manufactured at where is it called? There's a place that does it. PCB Way? I think it's PCB Way actually.
Oh, they're actually going through one of those.
Yeah, I believe PCB Way
Interesting.
is making them.
So this is going to be pretty limited in its runs, probably.
Oh yeah, I mean, like again, this is very much nostalgia, but it is, you know, like I think Atari. Speaking of these older companies, Atari has been re-releasing their games, remaking them. I just think it's neat when these old established brands that once dominated are actually back and they're doing stuff, and you have really passionate people driving these projects for them, and it's just it's a helpful, hopeful bit of news.
Yeah, no, I think it's super cool, and I think that if this is something that people want based out of nostalgia, that's fantastic. But I would especially hope that it doesn't just become an e-waste type item and it actually is one of those things where it's just for nostalgia. Like I would love it to actually have some good, decent use for modern web browsing needs and stuff like that.
Well, honestly, to counter that, I think a lot of people like this because it's their first introduction to computers. And that's, I know a lot of people despise the console per se, console command,
Here we go. It's powered by the AMD Xilinx RTX 7. I'm actually not even familiar with that line of CPUs.
I have no idea either.
Combined with 128 megabytes of DDR2 RAM?
Like I said, this is running, as far as I know, very
What?
much like you're typing in your commands. This is for like people when they got into the internet, onto computers, not internet, onto computers in the 80s.
Oh,
this is what
so I was completely misreading what this would have actually been for at all.
I was a little curious because when you mentioned like web browsing, I was like, well, not exactly. I should have explained a little more. But
so it's like all terminal interface.
It's basically. Imagine the 80s computer brought to modern times.
Oh, okay. When you were saying that, I was still thinking like the form factor, or maybe it would even have like a mode where it
the
is
only
like
thing
it.
the Raspberry Pi would smoke the tar out of this on a purely performance ratio.
I'm blown away though that it's DDR2 because it's like, how can you even make that these days?
Well, it might be like why a lot of cell phone providers stayed on like 3G for a while. Even though you had 4G and you had 5G, it's just because a lot of it's in cost.
I believe this may be in regards to the Commodore. Patrick's asking if we think we could find a free computer more powerful than this. Yeah, absolutely. But if it's in regards to the Raspberry Pi 500 plus, maybe.
I think honestly,
I don't know.
New, no. Used, definitely. Because especially like not necessarily NUCs, laptop territory, obviously you kind of, if you're gonna get an all-in-one computer, either whether it's a laptop, which I would consider as sort of all-in-one computer, or a monitor or a keyboard, on the used market, laptops are gonna be the most prevalent, and you could definitely find those for pretty decently priced, honestly.
Yeah.
If you're willing to dive into Facebook Marketplace.
The land that is forbidden. So our next bit of news is actually coming from Ubiquiti. I love Ubiquiti. Best network stack options out there, in my opinion. Shockingly for the price, they're kind of the Apple of networking, but they're actually very reasonably priced, and they seem to support other standards pretty well.
For their price and for what they support, they seem pretty open. Not necessarily open source, but pretty open about how they do things.
And a competitor that's screwing people over right now is kind of Synology. Synology has made a lot of really bad decisions lately when it comes to some of their NASs, requiring you to use Synology drives and things like that. So Ubiquiti has introduced something entirely new. So this is their announcement for the Unify next-gen storage solution that they've come up with. And I'm excited. I'm here for it. I'm excited. The question is I'm sure it's going to support SMB, NFS, and probably a lot of the standard RAID options and stuff like that. And they really don't seem to be that unreasonably priced. I did look it up, and forgive me, I am forgetting it a little bit right now. But I want to say that they were like the 4-bay was somewhere around like $350 to $400.
We can look it up afterward, but one of the things about it, like showing it, is the it's very clean. I like that it says M.2 support as it's showing right there. You know, you have like Synology, you have Ugreen. Obviously, Unify has done stuff like this before. But this new generation, and of course you have it where it's, you know, it reminds me of the Apple Airport size.
Yeah.
I kind of like that whole size for professionals if you want a very clean setup. And then, of course, they have the server rack versions for just more dedicated storage, which I believe these are, like, you're not really going to be running Docker on them from as far as I know. I know these Unify is the main thing.
Storage.
It's just pretty much your storage, backups. I think you do some transmission from it. They're even showing they have a lot of backup solutions like that. This is really cool. I think it's great to have a new generation of these. I actually was thinking about one of them because it's kind of a...
Do you have Ubiquiti other networking?
I don't. I actually picked up one of their old Edge Router X's recently for like $20. Granted, it's from like 2017, so it's not new, but it's a lot newer than my TP-Link router that I'm running. And of course, it doesn't have built-in Wi-Fi, but I kind of want to move into the Unify sphere, or Ubiquiti, excuse me, not Unify. And I don't know, with that router, I might start playing around with it, see how I like it, and look into one of these because let's bring up the prices on the 4 and 8-bay ones.
That's what I'm looking for here.
You can go to store up there. Yeah, let's just look at the UNAS 2 and see.
Right there. It was right there in front of my face.
Oh, $200. Okay, and that's the 2-bay.
That's the 2-bay, and then the UNAS 4.
Okay.
Oh yeah, 380.
Not bad. And that's shipping in Q4, but I mean I know the looks aren't everything, but it looks so clean. I love the little display in the front. I really like
that
this
is super
as
cool.
Another solution.
What I really like is I feel like Synology has kind of gone unrivaled in the prosumer space for an easy to set up NAS for a long time. And then suddenly you've got Ugreen and a few others finally coming into the market. And I feel like this Ubiquiti, even though Ubiquiti definitely keeps themselves more of a commercial option, you can still have that at home.
Yeah.
And I think that these are going to be, if it's anything like any of the other Ubiquiti products, they're going to be dead easy to set up.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I wanted to see what was Alpha 8713 talking about. Look at.
Yeah, Alpha 8713 says look at MikroTik as well.
Might be interesting to take a look at real quick. I wonder if this is in regards to the another storage solution. I haven't heard of them. MikroTik router. Now that's interesting.
Yeah, let's look at
Routers and wireless. This is interesting. Is this something that runs like not free BSD? What am I talking about? the open source network operating systems.
Not sure. Maybe that's under software, which is not wanting to open there. Winbox.
Okay, that's different.
Yeah, ARM. Now it looks like maybe. Let me see. We got an ARM package there. MIPS, PPC.
Let's see what their products are.
x86. So this may be an OS to deploy on your own hardware.
I've never heard of this company. The name 400 gigabyte switch.
This looks pretty cool.
Is this just a newsletter? What are their products?
Yeah, let me see.
Yeah, I've always, because one of the things I've thought about, obviously, when you have a dedicated router modem combo, there is obviously some lost performance. There's also generally not as much control versus like either running your own operating system or having a dedicated, you have your access point, you have your router, everything's split apart. And this is sort of interesting.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. We appreciate that lead, Alpha. This is pretty cool stuff.
Cheap and good network hardware. Yeah, I'll keep it.
Yeah.
One of those, scroll up for a second. Is that a network card? It looks like a GPU. Scroll down.
Oh,
I just saw it.
Yeah, this one?
Yeah, that is probably the largest network card I've ever seen. But is that?
Is that 10G? 25 gigabit networks. Wow.
I might look into this. This is interesting.
2 times 25 gigabyte PCIe Ethernet adapter.
4 gigs of RAM.
Holy cow! For $200 too. That is not bad.
And it goes in your computer?
Yeah, it looks like, so it's got an onboard CPU and RAM and everything.
So it's like your router inside your computer or something?
This device can handle a lot of firewalls. Wow.
Or maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking maybe it's for more server deployment, but this is very interesting.
Yeah, that is super cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Alpha 8713. All right, so moving on to our next bit of news. This one is a little bit of news slash, we gotta talk about this just a little bit. Xiaomi, or Xiaomi, whichever way you want to say it. Xiaomi, anyway. Moving on. Xiaomi has created a new phone that is shockingly similar to a new phone in which I actually saw today for the first time in person.
Yeah, man, I got the new 17 Pro Max. Which kind, you asked? Oh, they're named the same, except it's just the company who makes it. That's different.
Yeah, so Xiaomi has released their new phone that is shockingly close to the 17 Pro Max. Here's what I didn't even think about until just now. It takes a long time to develop these products. Mm-hmm. So how did Xiaomi know that it was going to look this much like the 17 Pro Max without a little bit of leaked information there?
Looking over there at the
Not saying anything. Not saying anything. Just saying.
Well, I think what's funny about this phone is I saw, I think it's Mr. Who's the Boss video on it, and I was like, okay, like, oh, another knockoff a phone, whatever. But I was actually really surprised with it. It's not at all what I was expecting. There's definitely a lot of things that are ripping off Apple, like just straight off.
Like that UI. I mean, look at the settings icon, the messaging icon.
Yeah.
I mean, even gallery looks a bit different, but it's like very, very
liquid
close.
glass.
Yeah.
Which is not, I guess it's not necessarily Apple, but very much ripping it off. However, a lot of the neat features comes down to the rear screen, which is not just, it's apparently the same brightness, basically same density as the main one, which is kind of wild. And it was also running, I think, the flagship, what is it called? It's not, I want to say Fire Pro, but one of the flagship, basically Android CPUs.
Yeah, the Snapdragon 8 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think it's even in the modern generation of flagship Android phones.
Yeah, Snapdragon 8 Elite.
Yeah. And, like, it was kind of crazy. This knockoff actually had me interested in a phone, which I haven't been interested in one in a while. A lot of Apple's releases seem to be more incremental. And this is not necessarily a huge jump, but a lot of the features it has, such as the rear screen, it's running, basically top of the line hardware, really great cameras. It just, I don't know, it was very interesting. What are your thoughts on it?
Well,
this is Leica.
Yeah, it's got a Leica lenses and everything. I don't even know if Leica's still independent. I know Hasselblad has been bought by DJI. So Hasselblad, legendary camera brand, very high-end, German, I believe, in ancestry, or maybe Austrian. The camera that was taken to the moon was bought by DJI. And so you'll see a lot of things that are DJI with Hasselblad on it now. But when it comes to this phone, my first thoughts are, I don't believe we can get it in the US for one, because I don't think we can get any Xiaomi products. That's part of all that stuff going on. It is clearly a ripoff of the iPhone 17 Pro Max. There's no way around that. I don't know how that works.
Oh, it's got the game console. Scroll up. You have to show.
Oh, yeah, the game console's a little bit wild. My take is, cool. It's an Android phone that is trying something not really even that new, but refining it. And I don't know. This kind of gets to a whole other subject about phones. I think this is cool. As far as Android phones go and stuff like that, the way that things have been going, I think this is cool. It's another cool new step, a really nice refinement. I think that phones have gotten boring, and this is not really a very new sentiment, but there's not much iteration. However, all technology does this. The desktop, initially it was all like, computers are giant server racks only, and that you had this tiny little display that you would get your text on. Then it became a little bit more smaller. You get the Commodore 64s, you get traditional desktops, you get the plastic Macs with the different colors and stuff like that. You have all these different changes in desktops until eventually you get the desktop. Cell phones did kind of the same thing. Flip, they become smart, they have QWERTY keyboards. Now they don't have QWERTY keyboards, they're all touchscreen, and now they've kind of standardized on that brick. Then you get a couple of excitements like folding phones every once in a while, and that's cool, but I don't know, it's just one of those things where I think a lot of, tech has this a lot where there's a lot of excitement because things are changing, new things are happening, and then it just becomes stale, and now that piece of tech just becomes synonymous with, I have to have one, if that's the right term, synonymous. But it just becomes where it's like, it's another device you gotta have. It's kind of boring. Cell phone announcements have not been very exciting to me in a long time.
Oh, same.
Personally.
Same thing, and I was seeing a comment down here talking about the whole point of the iPhone back camera. Looking like that as a periscope zoom camera, why do you need a rear screen when you already have a screen? And I think that's absolutely fair. But I do think it's a neat idea because one of the things is, I think this will be an interesting topic to discuss, is people who are trying to dephone their lives, basically, whether for just not being addicted to Instagram or Facebook or simply just don't want to be tracked or something like that.
So I'll come clean. I have probably tried to ditch my smartphone more than 95% of people, or at least. I have gotten the Nokia 5G, what do they call it? Little bitty semi-dumb phone. I haven't gotten full dumb phone. I've tried launchers on my phone that are just black and white text and turn the whole screen black and white and all this kind of stuff. I am somebody who actually really wants to kind of get rid of my smartphone. But they're so necessary for almost everything these days. And it sucks, to me personally. The most exciting one to me in a long time, as far as smartphones go, because of my personal wanting to get rid of them, is actually the minimalist phone. Have you seen the minimalist phone?
I have.
It's e-ink display, QWERTY keyboard on the bottom half, runs full Android. You can still get Android CarPlay and everything, Android Auto, which is super cool. So there's a lot of luxuries and qualities of life, Spotify, things like that, that just make having a smartphone really, really nice. But then, of course, there are the needs. Checking bank account while you're in the store, doing this, doing that, a quick photo to send to a friend to be like, hey, is this what you were asking for? Those are almost necessities in a modern life. And the smartphone is the device for that. So I personally might not be the best one to get all excited about this stuff because I want to get rid of it anyway. But I do love tech. I don't know, I'm bored of smartphones.
Well, I guess my point with the secondary monitor is, in a way, to me, it's a little unrealistic, especially in anyone who works in the tech field, to get rid of their smartphone. It just really doesn't make sense. If you're a construction worker, if you just need to take calls and texts,
Edison, what's up? Hi.
Edison
says hi.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah.
I guess the idea of a smaller screen on the back of your phone, I kind of like that. I know your phone has one right here, but being able to sort of minimize, how much interaction you're having with your phone, you're not having, you don't have your whole big screen come up. It shows a bunch of things, little bitty thing here and there.
Oh, and you're talking about what first name, last name is saying.
Yeah, what first name, last name was saying. I forgot to mention his comment specifically.
Yeah. So I have a second display, and I can speak on this. There are a lot of reasons why I want a second display, actually. Number one, being able to just quickly tap, check time. Cool. Other one, text message. I swipe up. I'm checking that text message real fast. I'm not getting distracted. I like that. And then the other one, you're taking photos. Now you can use that display to use your main camera as the thing. I don't really take selfies, but that's a big reason for people.
Well, actually, speaking, the iPhone 17 Pro is supposed to be for professional phones. It's got ProRes. And one of the aspects, I guess, I thought that was interesting is for people who are using their phone as a main camera, this is actually kind of interesting that, you have that secondary screen to help you with framing shots, filming yourself. I know it may seem vain, but kind of an interesting aspect to take it if you are someone who are just trying to use your phone as your main setup, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jenna says that looks like an iPhone mixed with the Motorola Razr with a little display screen, and I agree.
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah, interesting phone. I don't really care so much about releases like this anymore until somebody does something really new and exciting. So, That's my personal take.
I think it's interesting. I like what it's doing. Obviously, it's not available in the U.S., which kind of sucks. But I don't know. It was just one of the first phone releases in a while that I actually thought was very interesting, since it is basically just a straight-up ripoff, but it's not that bad.
All right, Jack, are you ready to do this? Our main subject.
I am. I have no idea what web address you're putting in. Okay. I'm prepared. Oh, no.
I don't know if our viewers are prepared. The main subject, what we have our thumbnail made for actually this week. We made a thumbnail ahead of time. Can you believe it? We titled the video.
We had a thumbnail and we put an announcement 3 hours on the same day, which is way
unreal,
way better than we've done before.
Before you know it, we're going to tell you guys that we have a consistent time to do this podcast.
Yeah.
Wow. But no, we have our main subject this week, and it is that GoPro is back.
They're sort of back.
Sort of back. So let's talk about this. I was browsing. I have kind of my typical set of websites that I like to check out every morning when I'm drinking coffee. And this case, it was Cined, which I love looking at. And this is talking about how GoPro has launched the Max 2 8K 360 camera and the Lit Hero. And then what really piqued my interest, even though it's not that exciting, hear me out when I say this. What really piqued my interest was they announced this gimbal. It's not a gimbal that I would buy. I'm not excited by it at all. However, this is the first non-GoPro Hero action camera product that we have seen since the Karma.
It's actually pretty wild because I think a lot of people have been on the GoPro's dead train, and honestly, rightfully so for a while, especially with a lot of progressions in other cameras. And the Max 2, I'll be honest, I'm not super into 360 video, but it is interesting. One of the things they did stress on this was talking about like it's true 8K. Like it's not a lot of 360 cameras. They're basically, you know, it's two different lenses. They're connecting together, and so you have a black space that's around them because they're circular. A lot of cameras count that towards it, even though it's more like, was it 7 or sometimes 6.8K? But GoPro is actually, you know, 8K. It's actually taking like 21 more percent resolution than the competition. And I don't know. I guess what I think about 360 cameras is for power sports and vlog type usage, without editing, I actually see a lot of the point of it. Because one of the things I didn't realize is their app, how much they were actually going into that. Because I think it was like, what, the 7 or 6 they introduced the app, and then you had to start,
something like that.
You had to start registering your GoPro.
And GoPro's app is really good.
It is good. It's very irritating that like sometimes when you boot up the camera, it's like, please register in the GoPro app.
I hate registering devices. It's like, you sold me the hardware. Stop asking for my email.
Yeah, like I don't like that. I wish that was not the case. But the fact that GoPro's app actually has a lot of cool features and kind of goes into that where, you know, you could have your phone, you have your GoPro, they even have their own cloud storage thing you can upload to. You have your like editing rig on the go if you're out, you know, in the middle of the desert on dirt bikes or something like that. And I guess with the gimbal, I'm not a big gimbal guy, honestly, either. But
yeah. So, I mean, to what my initial point was the fact, of course, that they haven't had a non-hero camera product since the Karma. And why that is a big deal is that means that GoPro is finally stepping out of that space and creating new things. And if you look at the gimbal, it is very GoPro. Like the choice of materials on the handle and everything, the extra little light right there to light things up, everything about it very much speaks to the language, if you will, of GoPro. Now, it's not a very capable gimbal. It can only hold like 400 grams, which I think was 0.88 pounds when I did that conversion in my head because I'm so smart. It's one of those things where it's not massively impressive, but it's a giant peek into what the future of GoPro could actually look like.
Yeah, because GoPro really got scared by the Karma, and rightfully so. I never personally experienced it.
It was very bad karma.
Yeah, very bad karma. Genuinely, like, yeah, I could see how it scared all their shareholders, which allegedly they're potentially getting more ownership of their company, I've heard somehow. from the grapevine, but
do you guys have any like great memories with GoPro? Is it something like, for me, I have a lot of nostalgia for GoPro. I remember watching the announcements. I've used them for so long. There's a lot about GoPro that excites me, and I wish that they would come back and be a dominant force like they used to be. And so I'm kind of curious if you guys actually have had really good, strong memories with GoPro.
yeah, I've always loved it. It was one of my first cameras that I was given. I had the original GoPro, and then I had the 3, and I mean, really revolutionary for the time, obviously, because super small. But I feel like with especially DJI, 360, a lot of these companies are coming out being very competitive. That GoPro has kind of been in this weird area, and while this gimbal is very simplistic, you could say, because all these companies a lot of these companies are doing it. I think that it represents them moving in a more creator-oriented direction, like they were originally doing, and not being so scared about taking risks, which I think will save GoPro.
You have to take risks, which the initial GoPro wasn't necessarily a risk. It was innovative. But
it was innovative, but like if you think about going outside the box like that.
Now, the Max 2 actually excites me quite a lot. So one thing I don't like is having to stitch video outside of camera, which is something that you've had to do a lot with previous 360 cameras. I bought the Ryko Theta X, I think that was the name, the Ryko Theta X, which is a 5K 360 camera, and it does all the stitching in camera, and I actually like it a good bit. It's not that usable though, because the problem with 360 is you crop in so far no matter what you do. But the GoPro Max 2, having that extra resolution, being 8K, and I do believe it stitches in camera, is super, super cool. And the Max 1, the original Max, was very exciting to me, but it was just one of those things where, because the resolution was so low, I couldn't quite justify it. This one, I haven't pre-ordered, but I am going to buy. What I want to kind of talk about now, though, is this GoPro Lite, I think they're calling it?
No, the Lit.
Oh, is it GoPro Lit?
It's the Lit GoPro. Scroll up, you went past it. The Lit Hero, excuse me.
It does 4K 60, not too bad, but it's going to be very compressed. And then you have 12 megapixel photos.
The built-in LED, actually, I kind of like that. It's funny, one of the guys, first name, last name, had mentioned, I never had a GoPro, but I've always wanted one. Like, it's funny, I was actually thinking about what's your favorite generation of GoPro, Micah? But something like...
My favorite generation of GoPro?
Well, like almost
it's the newest one. They keep getting better.
They keep getting better. But like something like this almost for like even like people getting started. Obviously very speculative because this is coming out. But I like how they're going for that kind of really small form factor. The built-in LED light I think is actually pretty genius, especially because it is for sport activities. And if you just want a camera, you can stick in your pocket, go out. You're not going for trying to get cinematic quality.
This is interesting too. They've got hyper smooth stabilization via the Quick app, which tells me that they've stripped out a lot on the processing of this. And it makes me wonder, 4K 60, and it's way smaller. Look at how much smaller that is in a normal GoPro. You want to hear a theory? You ready?
I wish I had
we're not screen sharing right now.
We haven't been screen sharing this whole time.
Well, we have been up until a little while ago. Here's my theory. See how much smaller it is? What if this is a like Hero 7 or 8 that they just put a new body on and stuck a little light on there?
It's possible. I know they had a small camera before. I can't remember what it's called.
The Session.
The Session, yeah. Well, no, they had the Session, which was a little cube.
Yes.
But then they had one like this.
Oh, right. I forget what they called it. But like where the placement of the lens is and everything and the size of it, I want to say even that button down there. Everything actually makes me think that this could just be a rehoused, maybe GoPro 8 or something like that.
I mean, it's funny. I use GoPro a lot for my own personal recordings, and I don't know. It'd be interesting. Do they have pricing on this?
So pricing,
because also there's an aspect if you had these little $270.
That feels a little high, honestly. If you're getting stripped back that much, I feel like this should be more like a $225.
I mean, that's fair, but I also wonder, like, as in, like, if you're just trying to get a bunch of GoPros, like, compared to, like, getting a, top-of-the-line GoPro, I feel like these do fit their own area. If you're, like, you just want more camera angles, you know? Like, this is not, you're not going to be able to plug in, like, it's funny, we did a GoPro as an extra camera on one of the live streams. It didn't work super great, but it has a little micro HDMI.
Bleh.
Again, but like this being stripped out, I actually see a very good purpose for people who pretty much just want a camera they can just get up and go and then mess with the quick app. Obviously, I don't like necessarily when they have to use an app, but if they're stripping out things to make it easier, more portable, and also I wonder about, they do mention the Enduro battery on it, which says 100 minutes, because that's one thing that I have always been a little annoyed with GoPro about, is their battery life. I'd be interested to see how that comes out in real world performance. I'm actually kind of excited for that. I forgot about the lit.
Yeah, it's one of those things for me where I think that GoPro has finally put their feet forward and are actually starting to make some ground again, and they're not just reiterating. Now, the 13 was another good semi-decent step. It's still a hero. There's a lot of similarities to the 12, but they did actually do some nice improvements on that, so it's a good iteration of the hero. These are pretty new and definitely different changes, and it makes me think that GoPro is actually looking at creating other projects in the future, and GoPro, especially now with all the problems with DJI in the US, please make a drone again, and don't be so stupid with the design. Don't put that gimbal in there. Yeah, Number one, don't put that gimbal in there.
I wouldn't put the gimbal, but one thing I would say, since they're doing the gimbal, is to do wireless mic systems. That would be a great addition, because that's one thing that really has made me think about DJIs. They've got their own little, obviously the big wireless mic systems, and then the little ones. That whole idea of just, getting a goes right to your cameras, goes right to your drone, whatever it is really neat. And I think if GoPro was able to capitalize on that and make their own wireless mic system that goes with their GoPros, maybe even have it where it auto syncs. You don't have to have a receiver that plugs into the GoPro. That would be a great game changer for our vlog, for sport content, and I think that would actually get them further, because I think it would be nice if they made another drone again, hopefully they learn from the mistakes that they ever do make one, but I think that would get them in the right direction towards becoming sort of that all-in-one creator, outdoor creator camera. Not necessarily again, but that, you have the GoPro Quick app, you've got your GoPro, you've got a mic system, you have a gimbal, it's all in one, it's all in a little package. That's, it's GoPro, it's a little big camera, a little package.
Yeah, future products that I would like to see, again, the drone, the wireless mics is a great idea. I would actually like to see GoPro come out with a cinematic GoPro, for lack of a better term, where you actually have like proper lens mount and large sensor and removable lenses, but it's all built about the idea of using it for action purposes. Because how cool would it be? This would be amazing. If GoPro could make a camera that had like a micro Four Thirds sensor, and it had lenses that were nice and tight and everything, to where you could maybe even get some waterproof rating on there, it'd be so cool, because I'm a scuba diver and everything. I would love to have a better camera that I could actually take underwater at like 90 feet down and be able to get great looking images and have that ease of use that a GoPro offers you underwater. That would be so cool.
Well, something about the replaceable lenses, like one of the comments was talking about, how it's great how the GoPro is small and portable, but the one thing is they're too expensive to be truly expendable, and that is fair.
Fair.
But one of the things that
I've got 4, but that's fair.
Yeah. One of the things that Max 2, the 360 camera, is doing is it has the replaceable lenses, which is a big part for a 360 camera, because you can't set it down like a normal GoPro. If you set it down, sometimes it'll scratch the tar out of it. Not only, of course, are they a little tougher, but if they get cracked, you can unscrew it and put on a new one. And I think if they, like you're saying, if they made a cinematic GoPro, even if they didn't necessarily up the quality of the GoPro, but they had it to where you could replace the lenses very similar to that, I think, because the Max 2 is supposed to be waterproof, I believe. I don't know if it's super, I think it's like 30 feet or something like that.
Yes, waterproof to 5 meters.
5 meters, okay.
Which in American is 17 feet?
Yeah, basically.
Something like that.
But the thing is if they were able to put that replaceable lens technology, not only would it potentially allow for different, actual focal lengths, not just digital, but for people like someone mentioned about being concerned about, because that's really the biggest thing about a GoPro. I've dropped them before, and the biggest thing is just scratching the lens, and you have just, this cut through your eye when you're looking through it. I think if they did that, that would actually help a whole lot and give them a lot longer life. And obviously they wouldn't make them expendable, but it would allow for more cinematic interaction with the camera, and it would allow for a longer lifespan.
Yeah, I just hope that there's not more and more and more reliance on using apps. I would like to just see a lot of these features baked into the cameras.
Who knows? Maybe there'll be another contender.
Maybe GoPro comes back a little bit, and they could honestly start taking on a lot of this with DJI, because, and Insta360. Insta360 is getting into the ring a lot too, and really, there's just a lot of places where there's just utter dominance by like DJI in particular, and it just doesn't.
GoPro has an opportunity with the tariffs. They have an opportunity, unfortunately, or hopefully. They don't just go, whoa, we have no competition now. We can just, we can just do what we've been always doing. But we shall see.
All right. Well, I think that does it for our main subject. I mean, if you guys have any more comments on that, do drop them in. We will definitely be reading comments by the end of this video. So if you guys have any other comments or questions or anything like that about these GoPro launches, definitely let us know in the comments below. But moving on to our next bit, our next segment is our NoPlan update. We like to update you guys about what we got going on with our main videos that you guys like to watch here on the channel. And this one is something I'm pretty excited about. I am faced with a dilemma in my personal life where I made my my hobby my career. And not only my hobby, my passion, my career. So now it's a little bit of a thing where I worked at home for a long time, running, getting this business started and everything like that. The last thing I wanted to do with my free time was get off of work and then stay at my desk where I was doing all the work. Well, now we have an office and everything's like separated from my home, and now I'm left with not even a desk at home. So I wanted to make a desk, but I wanted to make it the coolest, nerd-ready, tech-ready desk that I could possibly design. So of course, I did what every normal person will do, is 3D model it to scale. So what I am working on now, and I would love your guys' ideas for this. If you have any ideas for how to add to this desk, it's going to be made completely from scratch, so I could add any kind of feature or cool thing that I want to do to this. Here it is. This is the desk design that I've got going. And as you can see, we've got a place for a computer here. It's got multiple shelves going on. It's kind of wrapping around, so everything's kind of encased. And then this is actually a 20-gallon fish tank. And I'm super excited for that. I'm big into aquariums. And so I'm going to integrate a 20-gallon fish tank. I'm going to have filtration on the side over here covered up. It's going to be very seamless. I'm also, I haven't been able to finish all the modeling on this, but I'm going to be making a little rack for my laptop to sit there. And everything's going to go into HDMI splitters so that I can just, with a click of a button, change devices. I'm thinking about putting the HDMI splitter there on the top. So it's going to be laptop there. I have a Lenovo Legion, which I'm also going to make kind of a mount or rack for it to sit in that will go into the HDMI splitter, and then I can switch to my Legion. From there, all into the same monitor, and I got to figure out the USBs. I don't know of a USB switcher. Do you?
For USB switchers, yeah, there are some, but they're more for commercial use. I was going to say, though, the one thing you might want to look into is the depth of the desk.
So the depth is 2 feet.
Okay.
So it's going to be pretty close to about what this is.
Well, we'll say that 24 inches can be a little smaller than you think. But
for sure.
I would that would be the one suggestion, because with depth, that gives you a lot, just simply where you're looking at from the monitor, gives you a lot easier room. And also, if you put something underneath it, whether it's 3D printed, if you want to have a little thing that lifts up your monitor, or on top, you have more room for deeper drawers, for instance.
In the mock-up here, I do have the monitor on a stand. I'm probably going to integrate a VESA mount of some kind,
Okay.
Hopefully adjustable. Those are still kind of up in the air. But also up on top, there's going to be space for shelving, so I can put more like knickknacks and some of my things that I like to collect or something like that. Oh, and the other thing I also am probably going to do with this is put a. Oh, I just noticed I've been pointing to things and I don't have the cursor showing because this is a screenshot that we're on top of. Sorry about that. But one of the things that I'm also going to be doing is getting a PS5 probably. I am a Linux gamer. I don't want to install Windows, but there are a few games coming out with anti-cheat and my friends want to play, and so I want to play with my friends. So I'm probably going to get a PS5 as a workaround. But so I'll integrate the PS5 into this and we can get around some of those anti-cheat games. But I'm super excited about this desk. If you guys have any ideas of like something cool to add, comment. Let us know your thoughts.
Oh no, we violated it. We did it. We did made a violation. We made a plan.
Oh shoot!
Alpha
I'm
called us
planning
out.
this desk.
He called us out.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you know what? I need to scrap this. There will be no plan. I'm just gonna wing it.
We ball.
That's a good point. But anyway, super excited about this. This is going to be a cool video, and maybe it's going to be a little bit of a series of videos. We'll see. But I want to kind of do it style of like DIY Perks. That's one of my favorite YouTubers, and so I'm going to have a lot of fun making this desk. So
needs a desk drawer. I agree. I think it needs a desk drawer. I'm seeing people's suggestions.
Oh yeah, Alpha. Let me see. Moving Windows. Alpha 8713 is saying needs a desk drawer. So here's the thing. I am building all the cabinetry. We're remodeling, my wife and I are remodeling our kitchen, and I'm rebuilding all the cabinetry. And I've been doing a lot of drawers. Drawers are not fun. They are not easy, and they're great. But I really do not want to make more drawers. So maybe phase 2, I have thought about making cubbies that would basically be like a drawer. So maybe that's something I could do. And maybe I'll be through my drawer making PTSD to where I could actually make some more for this. Good idea. We'll see. But first name, last name says, yes, love the fish tank. And yes, I love fish tanks. Let me see. I would make a shelf underneath for a desktop PC so that it's out of the way but doesn't suck in compounds of dust. Very good point. First name, last name. I probably should elevate the desktop off because I'm probably going to put a desktop under there too.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to have like 5 or 6 computers on this desk, to be honest.
There's going to be a lot of stuff going through here because, yeah, that's what I was thinking. You're going to run everything off of Lenovo Legion, but I could totally see upgrades.
Yeah, the main gaming is going to be the Legion. I also want to make sure that I make it to where I can put, I've got a Logitech G27 gaming racing wheel and pedals. I want to make sure that I can actually use that on this desk properly.
Another thing for depth, probably.
Yeah, no, I've checked the depth, and the racing wheel comes to about there, so the monitor would sit right back.
All right, perfect.
So yeah, again, any other ideas, even if this video is not live, let us know, because I would love to see those, and can't wait to get this video series out for you on making this desk. All right, Jack, are you ready for our app suggestion?
I am. What is it? What's it today?
So our app suggestion is a web app, and it's one that I have disregarded for a long time because it is a web app, because normally this type of app can be pretty resource intensive, very, it's not a light app and something you do a lot of work in. So I do a lot of graphics, and my go-to tool of choice has been GIMP. I've loved it for a long time. Sorry, GNU Image Manipulation Program. Probably shouldn't say that word. I hate the name of it. Hate the name of it. Please change it. But I have found a new one that I absolutely love. So I disregarded it for a long time because I'm drawing this out anyway. The app suggestion is, let me see.
Hey, we're bigger.
Hey, I went to the main camera. Okay, the app suggestion is Photopea. Photopea has truly shocked me. I threw it to the side because, like I said, it is a very intensive type of application. I was like, there's no way it's going to be this good in a web browser. I even tried it, and I was like, it's in the web browser. It doesn't feel native. I'm having to import things and stuff like that. But what I did not account for is installing it as a progressive web app. It makes it feel like a native application, and it is absolutely like Photoshop. And for free online, this is unreal. I don't have an ad blocker, actually. I don't know why it's not showing ads there. Oh, there we go.
Shouldn't have said anything.
I shouldn't have said anything. But it does have ads on the free version and a few limited features. However, it is not expensive. If you go premium and you can buy, this is super cool too. It's not a subscription. You buy days. So technically, yes, subscription, but it's not just a constant auto renew. And if you break down that cost, it's like dollars per month. And it gives you like AI background removal.
Single dollars.
Yeah, single dollars.
Everything is dollars per month, technically.
Yes,
Sorry.
thank you, Jag. Thank you. This is true. This is true. That was logic I was not prepared to deal with. No, but it's very few dollars. I just don't remember exactly what it was because I've done the breakdown. For like the 20-person plan, it's like $1.67 a month per person. Yeah. But you get AI background removal, you get everything. But what is nuts is it truly is like a native application when you install it as a web app. You can even right-click on JPEGs in your folders and do open with Photopea. This is something that was suggested to me by Michael Tunnell from the Destination Linux podcast, and I blew it off for too long. I'm just shocked. I love it. You've been a longtime Photoshop user. I have not. What are your thoughts on your
It's
Photopea?
very similar. I've honestly got used to using Krita because Photoshop's not on Linux. But going back to Photoshop, especially like the remove or magic eraser, stuff like that, the way the selection tools work, the lassos, very nice to get back into. Honestly, like if you are someone who wants perhaps, maybe you're on the fence about moving towards Linux and you want to keep something similar to Photoshop, because this can also open up PSDs, I would heavily try out Photopea, and who knows, maybe that could be the defining difference to switch you over to Linux.
Yeah, I've been pulling in like 24 megapixel photos and stuff, and no problem. And what I really regret not really looking into is, you know, I'm the kind of person, and I know I'm bad at for doing this. I will look at this website and be like, okay, free online photo editor, all right, and full PSD support, that's cool, okay. And then I don't look at all the fine print details. Why can't I go back? There we go. Fully local is something I did not really pay enough attention to. Using your CPU and GPU, all files open instantly and never leave your device. That's the coolest thing. This is a web app built on HTML5 that just utilizes your local resources. And I can tell you this, it actually does, because when I pull in things and I start manipulating things, I hear my computer's fan spinning up, and it's not just because I'm using a Chrome-based web browser. It's actually because it's legitimately doing a lot of processing on your local device and machine, and it's like a 4 or 5 megabyte file. So and it's very, very capable. I do not know how Photoshop is so resource intensive when you look at something like this that's so good and so lightweight.
Oh yeah, I really like it. It's very cool to finally have Photoshop back, and I would definitely give it a try. I really like it.
I'm curious about what you said there. Expound on that just a little bit. To have Photoshop back, what do you? Is it that close for you?
It's very close. It has been a while since I've used Photoshop. I'll be 100%, so I haven't like. I'm a little rusty, I guess is the best word. But like one of the apps we had recommended before was Remove.bg, which has a free plan, which is great. But the paid plan can get a little expensive. But this right here has its own remove sort of background feature built into it.
And it's very good.
Yeah, it's very good, and the cost you'd be paying, like, cause what, it was what, €50 or $50 a year?
So I got it for the company, and we got, a team plan for a whole year, and once this translates to US dollars, it's like $200 for a year for 5 seats. And that was like, I think $250 a person or something like that per month.
Yeah, and so
ridiculously cheap.
when you think about that, that's That's actually the Remove BG's pricing is a little weird because it operates on tokens. I guess this is sort of like a token system, but not. It's a little weird because it does days. But you having this as your all-in-one solution where you throw in your photos, you don't have to throw it into Remove BG, throw it back out. Really nice. And again, getting back into a lot of the old features of Photoshop. It's really nice. And I don't know. I like the Photo P guys. They seem really nice.
Yeah, and if you forget to pay or you just don't want to pay again, you still have the free version.
Yeah, it's still free.
All right, and moving on to our final segment before we get out of here is our channel shout out for the show. You've been seeing it there at the bottom for the whole show, and it is Freshly Charged. This is your suggestion, Jack. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so Freshly Charged is about personal electric vehicles, PEVs. If you have a personal electric vehicle of choice, let us know down in the comments.
Wait, you're into like electric scooters and stuff?
I'm very into electric scooters, not as much as I used to, but they cover things from mowers to e-bikes to e-scooters to even electric motorcycles and also everything in between. If you are on the fence about a new product that's a PEV and you want to know a little bit more about it, they do very good reviews. I really like their content, and it's helped me decide on a few scooters in the past. And again, they just seem like have a lot of fun with it, and they seem pretty honest, honestly. And so they're my recommendation if you're looking for if you're looking for a PEV, I'd go to their channel and see what they got.
Yeah, I've never heard of this channel before. You mentioned it today, and I'm gonna have to check it out. It was pretty cool.
Sometimes I wish I would have watched a few of their videos before I bought some of my scooters, but don't make the mistake. Check it out, and I believe they have a full blog on freshlycharged.com. I might be thinking of a different YouTuber, but I know that they have their own. Yeah, they have their own written reviews.
Oh, cool.
That you can go to and see. If you don't want to watch it, you can read it.
And they even have a shop with their own t-shirts. Check that out.
Own merch. There we go.
Which we want to have soon. Which we always want your feedback, guys, on what we can do to improve the show and make it a more fun environment and everything for you guys to enjoy watching NoPlan. So we appreciate your feedback on it.
Yeah.
All right, well, that wraps it up for this episode of NoPlan Live. We appreciate you joining us through this time and commenting and just vibing and having a good time on NoPlan Live. Like we said, we're trying to do this show every final Friday of the month. That is our current goal. It might change every once in a while, so make sure you check out our channel posts to keep updates.
Yep, we're going to try to be a little better about it. It's not just day of, maybe going out day before, or perhaps a week. And yeah, I guess this violates our NoPlan policy, but I don't know. We have no plan to have no plan. I don't know. But thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
See you guys later. Oh, I hit start recording.
What?
Bye.